Welcome back to another Warframe video. Today we're going over the Rumblejack. You've seen the title, I have strong words about this weapon. If you watched my previous videos, you would realize that all of them are straightforward to use, no uncertainty, will cap 10 out of 10 times. This piece of unholy creation has so many issues. But before we begin, let me preface this by saying, can this weapon cap, can the Rumblejack cap? Yes. Every weapon will go to level cap if you want to sweat hard enough, if you want to give it enough help. And in the case of the Rumblejack, just using Volt would fix the weapon. But I tend to bring weapons that do level caps without having to worry about dying, so I use Revenant. Now, let's begin with the problems I have encountered on this run. First, the time it takes to strip the armor of Doomelf. It's horribly inconsistent between different Doomelfs, as you've seen in the start of the video. The Expired and Devourer, they're stripped perfectly fine in one round, right? Within the first pulse, you can strip. It's perfectly fine. However, the other two, the Bayleaf and the Heavy Gunner, it takes 2 full pulses to strip them and then deal damage. And speaking of damage, God Christ, it's non-existent. If you were paying attention at the start, you would realize that the enemies I went against was not level cap. Because I simply just couldn't get there. The damage that you see would absolutely fall off at about 36. So there was no point. If you've seen all my past melee videos, whether it be the Neferi, the Karist, you will see that I tend to do light attack builds. Because I don't have to worry about the combo counter, and I will always be at my maximum strength. My weapon will always have everything it needs. However, for the Rumblejack, I tried heavy attacks, I tried light attacks, both of them didn't work. The one you see in the opening was the best it could do, and that was a heavy attack build. Now, let's highlight a few things, right? Why did it not work? The Rumblejack's light attack can apply a few statuses, right? A few electric procs, more than the heavy attack for sure, but the 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 electric procs just have no damage at all. Whereas if you looked at the heavy attack has a good amount of damage, but there isn't enough electricity procs. But even then, when you zoom out and look at the whole thing as a whole, both forms of attack don't even apply enough electricity procs to matter in the first place. Now here's the thing, like I said before, it's possible to do a level cap with Rumblejack, but it just wouldn't be a comfortable run. My content is trying to help newer players do level caps comfortably so that it doesn't scare them away from doing level caps. Well, enough about the failures of this weapon. Let's look at what I did the run with. First off, the frame. It's the typical Revenant Prime set that I usually use. More growing power, Umbra Intensify, Blind Rage, and Transient Fortitude for my ability Strength with growing power active. I hit 368% strength. Mode Augmented is here for 60% ability strength on 250 stacks. This will bump us from 368 to 428% strength. This will buff our Mesmer skin charges, and that's it for today. Because the Sickening Pulse scales off duration, so I didn't have to mod for range. I dumped range, as evident by running Narrow-Minded and Prime Continuity. These two will give us a lot of duration, so our Enthrall would work on the Acolyte for much longer. Prime Sure-Footed and Rolling Guard, just in case your Mesmer skin runs out. Prime Sure-Footed is here just in case when your Mesmer skin runs out and let's say a heavy gunner does the knockdown attack. You won't get knocked down with Prime Sure-Footed on, and you are free to recast your Mesmer skin. Prime Flow and Equilibrium to give us our energy economy, with exception from energy drain. This will keep us topped up. Equilibrium will work with our Parazon and our Panzer to give us more energy. More on the Parazon later. The second arcane that we're using today is Arcane Strike. Because the Rumblejack is a dagger and for some reason DE decided to make all daggers slower than a snail, Arcane Strike is necessary for even more attack speed. Moving on, our primary slot will be filled by the Argonac for the Amalgam Argonac Metal Auger. The Argonac is only here for this mod. This is our primary and only source of armor strip. Amalgam Serration is just here for that token amount of sprint speed. Primary Dexterity will give us more combo duration. And now onto our primer. Today we're using the Epitaph. Typical heat viral build, Amalgam Barrel Diffusion for more multi-shot, prime fulmination for more blast radius, and pistol ammo mutations because I'm gonna be shooting this thing a lot in between pulses. Secondary dexterity will give us more combo duration. Now for this piece of work. This was the build that you saw in the opening parts of this video. Heavy attack build, condition overload for base damage multiplier, blood rush for our critical chance. This in conjunction with amalgam organ shatter will work together to give us our critical multiplier. Weeping wound for that status chance. This weapon is heavily reliant on status. Not that it matters, it's trash. Please don't use this weapon, trust me. This will give us a lot more status. In fact, this will push us over 200% status chance. Focus energy and reflex coil will work together to give us 100% heavy attack efficiency. However, the game caps it at 90%. To add on, focus energy gives us even additional 60% electricity stat, so this will push our electricity weighting higher. And also in the calculation for electricity DOT, this additional electricity stat modded will be considered in the calculation. If you're interested in the light attack version, this is what I went with. Instead of amalgam organ shatter, I went with normal organ shatter, and instead of the heavy attack efficiency mods, I went with gladiator might and gladiator vice. Now, gladiator vice is a must-have if you're going for light attack. This weapon is simply too slow to run anything other than an attack speed mod. I was tempted to make gladiator might quickening. Now, unless you have a Riven, and I'm saying this as I want to emphasize this as much as I can. Unless you have a Riven, where gladiator might is, should always be an electricity mod. The reason why I didn't do it is because I wanted it to do guaranteed crits. The guaranteed crits actually give me more damage than if I were to do shocking touch. However, the difference is minute. And here's the thing. Either way, it won't cap with our current setup. Like I said earlier, you need to use Volt. And if you're using Volt, it removes the necessity for shocking touch. Now, if you do have a Riven, like me, you can do something like this. A critical chance Riven to still give us our guaranteed crits, the electricity so that, we don't have to mod, we have our modded electricity requirement, and the minus impact so that we don't get impact procs. Now, this Riven sort of works against our Parazon. Let's move over to the Parazon to talk more about it. This is our Parazon. We stab Eximus units for energy. Blood for Life will give us a health orb. This will work with our equilibrium to give us more energy. Blood for Energy will have a 50% chance to give us energy orbs. When it does, it's more energy. Power Drain for a free additional 50% ability strength. Now, is this necessary? Do you need to use your Parazon? No. However, I use this because it does give me free reign. Free energy, especially after energy drain. This will make it a lot easier to come back from having your energy drained to 0. Focus School, Naramon. You are using a melee, and personally, if you're using a melee, I usually go with Naramon. If not, you can use any other Focus School. If you're using Unairu for the armor strip, then you don't have to bring the Argonac. Usually, this is where I would bring us to a showcase run. But I seriously do not like this weapon to the point whereby I don't want to touch it. And that means there would be no showcase run. Trust me on this, don't use this weapon. Seriously, it's horrible. You want to do a level cap with it if you're new, wait till you're more experienced, and if you're experienced and you want to do a level cap with this, feel free, but just trust me, it's not a good weapon. On that note, if you enjoyed this video, do like, share, and subscribe. I do Warframe level cap guides. If you have a weapon you want to see me cap with, do leave them in the description. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.